Part 108. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 1084. The body was so provoked, how could Yanj concentrate on studying? Because of this, she also misread several syllables. Chi Yuan squeezed her chest. Why did you read the wrong story? Didn't you listen carefully? Distraction is not good, and you will be punished if you are wrong. Yan Ji's chest was small and Chi Yuan could cover it with a slap. She was pinched by him, and she was like a body of electric current. This man, no matter how small her chest is, can't pinch her chest as a cheek. So angry, she doesn't respect her femininity too much. She raised her head slightly and looked at Chi Yuan with a large watery eye, her voice soft and soft. Brother, don't buckle my fish. If you don't buckle, you have to be punished. Chi Yuan lowered her head, and her lips almost touched the ear beads of Yanj. When she spoke, her lips moved as if her feathers were scratching her ear beads. The breath he exhaled fell into the ears of Yanj, almost like a potion of spring for Yanj. She was so irritating, she really wanted to turn into a cat now and eat the man in one bite. The masculine smell in the man's breath was too strong, and her thoughts that made her dizzy seemed to be gone, and all her internal organs were involved by the man. She stared at the man with watery eyes and whispered, "As long as I don't hold the fish, my brother can punish me." "How can that be?" Chi Yuan's hand slowly touched Yanj's fart. "That brother, you are about to hit your little fart." Well, Yan Ji heard his eyes, and looked at Chi Yuan with his eyes wide open. "No, it hurts." Chi Yuan had already held Yanj in one hand and turned it over, causing her to crawl on her thigh, raising her hand to drop her pajamas to her knees, and her hands also fell on Yanj's buttocks. "I know how it hurts. I do focus on studying." Yan Ji cried whimpering, "Brother, I was wrong. I will not make another mistake next time. I must concentrate on my studies." But Chi Yuan's hand was still hitting her. "No, what wrong?" "Yanj, Xiao Yan knows that it's wrong. It hurts, brother, don't make small talk, whine." Yan Ji's delicate and weak cries were weak and weak, as if he could feel breathless at any time and passed out. Such a cry sounds reminiscent of the 4 words that scratch the liver. It's almost like countless silk threads pulling others' hearts and hearts, making people's entire mind be attracted by her cry. This is one, even crying like a cat demon who is hooking up. Chi Yuan looked into the small white tender buttock egg, and because of her cry, his eyes seemed like a black fire, but his voice remained calm. The little words told my brother, "Why did you just get distracted?" Yanj cried for a moment. She couldn't lie in front of him. When he asked, she returned subconsciously, "The little words touched by my brother's hands are so uncomfortable, so I can't concentrate on studying." "Where is it uncomfortable to touch you?" "How uncomfortable? Did your brother hurt you?" Yan Ji whispered and shook his head. "I don't know, I don't know. It's not painful. Yes, it's very uncomfortable. You have to touch your brother if you feel uncomfortable." Chi Yuan smiled lowly, "It's just a cat." He rubbed her hot little butt. "Where do you want to be rubbed by your brother?" Yan Ji dragged his arm and raised his head, tears hanging on his face, his eyes red and his cheeks red. She cried and said, "Everywhere." After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 1085. The small voices were ordinary cats, but Chi Yuan could hear them very well. "Think of it everywhere, it's really an honest little tortoise." His hand rubbing her gradually moved down and landed somewhere. The other hand helped her write, "If you want your brother to reward you, you have to learn it first." "Good, you know these words first. If you want to touch your brother, you can do it, but now you have to study carefully." He said these words in a serious manner. "But he has a finger." Yan Ji's legs were shaking. "This man is perverted, but what can I do if she is swollen?" she is so excited. Tears dangled in his eyes, and his words whimpered and answered, okay, good brother, I will study hard. Chi Yuan lowered her head and rolled into her teardrops, small words are good. After the compliment was over, the fingers were hard again, and the song snorted weakly, and turned around, sobbing and crying around Chi Yuan's neck, brother, can you learn tomorrow, I am so uncomfortable. But Chi Yuan's voice was ruthless, and he was not at all accommodating, no, I have to listen to my brother, otherwise my brother will be angry. Yang cried and had to turn around and continue to face the table, brother don't be angry, small words will listen to his brother. In the next study, Yang naturally could not concentrate his thoughts. She was a stupid cat, and had Chi Yuan's finger troubles. Where can she concentrate her mind to learn, and she could endure the countless mental effort of singing without kneeling down and begging him. After speaking and knowing, I finally knew the terrible aspects of this brain-hole world. In such a world, almost everything she imagines is based on the male lead's imagination, which means that she has almost no willpower of her own. The hero imagines that her body is soft and easy to overthrow, and she is a body that is soft and easy to overthrow. If the male lead imagines that she will hang up immediately, maybe she would die right away. Will such a brain-hole world one day be completely trapped here because of the male brain's brain supplement? Yan Ji could not think so far. Because the wrong syllable was made again, the man pressed her again and hit him again. Although the sound is loud, the hand strength is not great. But even so, Yan Ji's tender body still hurts. When the man punished her, she cried out of breath and said, brother, I was wrong, begging for mercy. When the man was done, he asked her as usual, why distracted again? Knocking in? Isn't this distraction you like to see? Obviously she was distracted with her fingers, but she asked insincerely. Thanks to Yan Ji, she thought too much of the male lead, and she even felt that this was a serious and filial man of 24. Now she realized that she was so simple. However, she vomited at the bottom of her heart, and she still sobbed and answered, my brother's fingers made me so uncomfortable. I can't learn to whine, my brother was wrong, don't hit me anymore. Chi Yuan, then I won't make you study hard. Yan shook his head and closed his neck. No, I want my brother, I want my brother. The sound of weeping was as soft as water coming out. Even crying makes people want to keep yelling at her. Chi Yuan lowered his head and drew tears from Yan Ji's face into his mouth. The tears were obviously salty, but he thought the water drops were extremely sweet. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 1086. Chi Yuan didn't punish Yanj anymore. After tearing up the tears on her face, she bit her red and soft lips again, and said hoarsely, I want brother, please brother, okay, shake your tail, begging brother. As he said, the tail of Yanj came out stupidly, she held his neck tightly, her long tail dangled, and her soft body was holding him. The voice in her small voice was soft and soft, land, brother, please. The flames in Chi Yuan's eyes had burned to the top. He grabbed her delicate waist and held her up on the desk, then covered it. Tossing all night with many tricks. Yanj not only showed his tail, but also 2 cat ears. He was also changed into another suit by the man, and his throat was sobbing softly and crying, good brother. What a good brother, is clearly a scum of a beast and a beast. Fortunately, the words were soft and easy to be overthrown by his body, even if she voiced, but it was really comfortable for him. Still an unprecedented joy. Anxious to die under him. Yan Ji finally knows what it means to be a ghost under the peony flower. When she was lethargic and drowsy, when the sky was about to light, the man hugged her tightly. At the peak, he bit her ear beads and shouted sister in her ear. He held her very tightly, and seemed to want to drag her into his body. At that moment, Yan Ji even felt that he was going to be haved by him. After shouting the two words, Qi Yuan's hand loosened and hugged her to sleep. Although two words, although only one sound. But the man's voice was extremely sad and entangled. It was as if she were his sister. It was as if his last moment before his death with her was unforgettable. The elder sister's words are extremely real. It is impossible to hear wrong. The man's repressed emotion seemed to leak out with those two words. Ling Yanj was out of breath for an instant. Yanj was held tightly by the man. The man fell asleep, but she didn't have any sleepiness, staring at the ceiling in a daze. She felt as if she had grasped the knack for accomplishing tasks in this brain-hole world, but when she thought about it, she felt nothing. However, she was a little clear. The man's favorite person should be his sister. Maybe his sister took good care of him, especially well. Therefore, he also wanted to have an opportunity to take care of his sister, taking care of his sister as his sister. This guy obviously had inexplicable thoughts about his sister. And this idea has been repressed until it became a kind of abnormal thinking divergence. So when he took care of Yanj, he finally took care of the bed from the sofa on the table. Alas, this is a mess in the real world. No wonder it will become a man's regret and obsession. Yanj entered this plane for a whole day, and felt that he finally touched the end. She felt that perhaps she would be cared for by a man for such a lifetime, and his regret and obsession could be lifted. The task can be successfully completed. I just don't know if this is what she thought. After all, this brain-hole world sounds less reliable. When Yanj woke up the next day, she felt the man's hands stroking her body before opening her eyes. She was so moved by his rubbing that she wanted to have a morning gun. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1087. However, after all, the song is thinking too much. Qi Yuan touched his hair, and he smiled lowly, little lazy cat, I know you're awake. He made Yanj the whole night, and he was so intense last night, and thinking about the morning gun that was about to come, causing her to be a little embarrassed to open his eyes, only to tilt his head and softly call, brother. Instead of pushing her down, her brother picked her up. Brother gives you a bath. Want a bath in the bathroom? It seems like a good idea. Yanj twitched his neck, his cheek blushed, his long tail wobbled, obviously excited. But in the bathroom, the man cleaned her cleanly. Even when scrubbing such a place, the man didn't flush his face or beat his heart, nor did he use dirty words to stimulate her like he did last night. A serious one can't be ruled. After speaking the song, the reaction came later. Perhaps the man's energy was drained last night. It is no longer sufficient to maintain another morning gun. How could this man think he was such a weak chicken in his own mind? It's 7 times a night. What can I do if I come again in the morning? Yanj was so soft that he washed his body, and the man was squeezed out, and he couldn't satisfy her, which made her feel bad all morning. However, when the fish on the table was put on the table in the morning, her tiny figure was immediately beaten with a stimulant. Qi Yuan held her in his arms as usual and fed her bite by bite. It was too slow to eat this way, Yanj tried to protest, but Qi Yuan insisted on this point. He felt that Yanj's mouth was too small, his throat was too thin, and his hands were sloppy. He would definitely get a throat if he ate fish. Yanj's protest was invalid, he could only eat fish in his arms. The peacock came again early in the morning. Not only did I buy several fish, but also bought many small snacks and put them on the snack plate of the coffee table. When I saw Yanj, he greeted me, good bitch. Without waiting for the words to respond, he looked around again, brother Yuan, how old is your family? Lao He is the black cat of Qi Yuan's family, which is also a human-shaped song. Yan Ji did not answer. She tilted her head and asked Chi Yuan, "What is Sunzi?" Chi Yuan rubbed her head. "It's a compliment, I praise you for being pretty." Yan Ji narrowed her eyes with a smile. "Oh, I'm pretty and beautiful." Peacock. He naughtily asked, "Brother Yuan, where has Lao He gone? Has his cat food been eaten?" Chi Yuan said, "It's gone, and will be back in a while." The tone was light, without any sadness. The peacock opened his mouth and looked at the expression on Chi Yuan's face. He couldn't say anything. He remembered that the big brother of his own family was a cat-loving cat, and that old Black was almost like a little ancestor, so he lost his confession. Oh, he also called a very unusual name called Xiao Yan. The peacock thought about it, his eyes narrowed strangely. He remembered that the old man seemed to call the girl Xiao Yan. No wonder the cat was gone. It turned out that there was a woman who stopped cats. That old Black is really pathetic, so easily replaced by an ancestral position by a girl. Chi Yuan Wenzhong said to Yanj, "Today there is a start-up ceremony for a new drama. We passed, and we may not be able to return at night. Will Xiao Yan stay with me in a hotel outside?" Yan Ji nodded. "Are there any fish to eat?" Chi Yuan, "Yes, you can bring the spicy fish you made today and eat it on the road. After my death, the villain blackened again." Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1088. For today's speech songs, as long as there are fish to eat, it doesn't matter where you go. The car set off early in the morning, and it was not until noon that it was at the film and television city where the crew's start-up ceremony was held. The lucky time for the crew to find someone is to hold the start-up ceremony at 3:28 p.m. Before that, Chi Yuan took the song and walked around the film and television city. The cat, Yanj, rarely went out with Chi Yuan. She was curious about everything around. She bought countless gadgets in the middle of noon. All these gadgets were hanging on Chi Yuan. There are many paparazzi around the film and television city, especially today. The crew also has a start-up ceremony. Chi Yuan himself was accustomed to living under this kind of light, but he was afraid that Yanj would be scared, so he came out today and deliberately wore a cap and sunglasses. But even so, when paparazzi were jealous, when Chi Yuan took Yanj's hand to go shopping, he always felt that paparazzi followed. Without a trace, he took the words in his arms, blocking the sight of those people. But Yan Ji's lively temperament had to be studied if she saw anything. Even if Chi Yuan had been protecting her without any traces, she kept turning around and was exposed to the paparazzi's camera from time to time. One of the paparazzi got too close, and the sneaky look was discovered by Yanj. She dropped the catgirl mask in her hand, walked to the paparazzi in a few steps, and brought the camera in the paparazzi's hand. "Are you looking at me?" The paparazzi was called a superson. "Today, I managed to catch Yingdi Qiwan's fierce material. The excitement has not passed yet. I did not expect that the camera in my hand was snatched by the extremely fast words." Fearing that Yanj smashed his most expensive possession, Superson stared at Yanj's hand holding the camera, and nodded and greeted Chi Yuan, who was walking a few steps, and said, "Hello, good brother Yuan." Yan Ji handed the camera to him. "What did you just take? I look at it." The sound was innocent, but Superson listened as if he were an enemy. He thought that the song meant that he would delete the photo. He has been squatting in this place for so long, and finally managed to take some money-making materials, but now it will be deleted, and his heart is bleeding. But this line is like this: others want to delete, he can't disrespect, so he can only find the photos just for Yanj. Here. Yan Ji took the camera directly from his hand, and he looked at the photos in Chi Yuan's arms. "This is good looking, this one is not good looking at all, brother. Look at you, like a thief who will steal people's money at any time. It's too insignificant, and the group photo of us is not good." She handed the camera back to Super Sun, put Chi Yuan's hat on her back, and put sunglasses on Chi Yuan's chest. Then she said to Super Sun, "You deleted the ones that just looked bad and took another one. Good looking." Super Sun, the surprise came too fast, his hands holding the camera were shaking. I won't even talk about the scene. The film emperor is really kinder than he imagined. When he posts the picture today, he must praise the film emperor and his female ticket. Yes, is it a female ticket? After taking a few photos of the Superson, he hurriedly said to the filmmaker, "Brother, your girlfriend is so beautiful." Chi Yuan did not refute, he adjusted his mobile phone to a photographic state, and let Super Sun take another photo of him and Yanj. Master Yingdi didn't even refute, and Super Sun's heart almost didn't jump up. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 1089. This is really the girlfriend of Lord Yingdi, my wife is surprised. Lord Shadow has no idle baggage at all. He is full of various ornaments, and in both hands he is carrying various snacks. There are 3 beads on his neck. Even so, he stood there, but no one thought he was a grocer. After all, where is his temperament? Super Sun looked at the film emperor. After excitement, he reacted afterwards, why today's film emperor looks different from usual. Today's film emperor, his features are particularly soft. Good-looking man and pretty girl, the girl is sweet and tender, the little bird snuggles in the arms of a man like a man, the man slightly bows his head, and the corner of his lips smiles at the girl with a smile. You can feel the sweetness of love across the screen. Since his debut, Lord Yingdi seems to have never had such an expression in front of any woman. This is really, the iron tree is blooming. Super Sun did not dare to disturb the life of the 2 of the big brothers. After taking the photo, he complimented a few more words, listening to the film's girlfriend grabbing the film's hand and saying, "Brother, I am hungry and want to eat grilled fish." Movie King, okay. Superson listened to the conversation between the 2 people, and Sheng Sheng played another excitement, even playing the game of his brother and sister. Lord Yingdi is really serious. However, due to the good temper of Lord Yingdi, he will never disclose the habit of Lord Yingdi. As soon as people walked away, Super Sun posted the picture editor on his public account, and this news quickly became the headlines of today. The grilled fish stall wasn't too close, but she couldn't resist the song's keen sense of fish. She pulled Chi Yuan to the left and turned right, and she was in front of the grilled fish stall. Chi Yuan waited for Yan Ji to eat a grilled fish feast. Seeing that the time was almost up, the 2 of them slowly returned to the place where the start-up ceremony was located. When Chi Yuan and the crew worshipped the heavens and the earth, Yan Ji sat next to the nanny's car not far away and focused on peeling pine nuts. Xiao Li was sitting next to the song, but he wanted to obey the boss's instructions to peel the pine nuts for the sister-in-law, but the sister-in-law obviously didn't like him to come together. Several times he started talking, and the sister-in-law didn't bother to deal with him. Speak. Yan Ji peeled the pine nut for a while and counted it, and then put the pine nut into his mouth and chewed slowly. Gaze looked at the crowd not far away. When encountering the paparazzi earlier, it was clear that Chi Yuan did not want to leave her relationship, but instead defaulted on the love relationship between them. Probably it is impossible to put this relationship under the sun in the real world, so this time Chi Yuan's heart trying to make her debut was almost impatient. Will he marry her? Yanj couldn't help thinking, how far did he attach to his sister's feelings? In the evening, there was a gathering of the main actors and investors of the creators. Chi Yuan did not act alone. He took the song with him. The whole crew did not expect Chi Yuan to bring a girlfriend, and they were keenly aware that even if some people persuaded Chi Yuan, they would all drink for their ticket. When not drinking, Chi Yuan was picking fishbone for the female ticket. The waiter deliberately added a plate of fish, which was placed in front of Qi Wan. Qi Wan's hands were covered with fishbone, and the little girlfriend around him was full. Not even the chopsticks. Chi Yuan was feeding her food and drink. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1090. These people sitting at the dinner, whether it is the director of the film crew or the investors starring, are not the first time to cooperate with Chi Yuan. But it was the first time they saw Chi Yuan taking care of a woman. She's a girlfriend slave. Although women disdain Yan Ji, who doesn't even take chopsticks, drinking kanji requires Chi Yuan to feed the girl, but they are jealous. After all, they also want such a meticulous boyfriend, especially this boyfriend is Chi Yuan. As for the men, they glanced at several words in secret. This woman, who is very weak and soft, makes people want to care for her. However, like Chi Yuan's care, they feel that they really can't do it, or there are too few girls Chi Yuan has experienced. When they encounter one, they get confused. Eating and drinking, some people yell and sing. After Yanj smashed a fish, he contentedly took a nap, and whispered to Chi Yuan, "I want to go to the bathroom." Chi Yuan nodded, "I'll take you there." He wiped his hands with a wet wipe, and pulled Yan Ji's hand out together. As soon as he left, everyone exchanged information. But no one knows Chi Yuan had a girlfriend and what his identity is. As soon as Yanj entered the bathroom, she saw the female number 2 who had makeup in front of the mirror. Female number 2 had a toast with Chi Yuan, and looking at the enthusiasm of the two, they seemed to be old friends. Yanj smiled politely at her. Female number 2 raised her eyebrows and asked Yanj, "Are you fooling around in this circle too? It seems I haven't seen you before." Yanj shook his head, "No, I don't have a mixed circle." "Oh? What do you do?" Yanj shook his head again, nothing was done. Female number 2 looked up and down the song. Although she has been talking about the song at this party, now she can see more clearly the pitiful features of the girl in front of her and the tender face that can almost spit out water under the bright light. It turned out that he liked this tenderness. Men really are a virtue. Female number 2 thought so, her heart was even more sour. It is even more annoying that these girls now use the value of beauty for all shortcuts. She snorted indifferently, and slanted her words from the mirror, saying, "Do you want to betray your parents?" Yan Ji looked at her in doubt, "I have no parents." Yan Ji's silly white sweet expression darkened the female No 2's face. "How many men slept before I slept with brother Yuan? Don't be too crazy, be careful which day the dark history will be picked up." Song of Yan, "I only slept with brother Yuan. Although I was quite dark, there was nothing like being pulled out." Her skin was glowing white under the light. Where was black? Female number 2 was so angry that her teeth hurt. The woman was obviously sarcastic that she was not white. Yanj ignored the second female, and after going to the bathroom, she found that the second female was still applying makeup in front of the mirror. When she washes her hands, the second female said blankly and said, "Well looking and young." Capital, but there are many young girls who are good and good in this circle. Do NT really think you are amazing when you climb Qi Wan? Yanj asked her, "Do you like brother Chi Yuan?" After waiting for the female number 2 to answer, she added, "Jealousness is beyond recognition. When you say such things, you look particularly ugly. No matter how embarrassed you are, you can't hide your ugliness." After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1091. This hypocritical pretentious white lotus. On the second, number 2 heard the words of the song, turned her head and stared fiercely at the song, raising her voice, "What do you understand? You don't understand anything." "Yanj, I don't need to understand. I just have an elder brother." The elder brother is waiting for me at the door. I'll go first. Sure enough, as soon as she pushed open the door, Chi Yuan held her hand. Is it a diarrhea? Why so long? Yan shook his head. I washed my hands. Chi Yuan felt that her hands were wet and did not dry clearly, and she took out a handkerchief from her pocket to help her wipe her hands. Scrubbing, his fingers were wrapped around Yan Ji's fingers, 10 fingers were wrapped around Capricorn, his head bowed slightly, and he asked in her ear, tired, do you want to go back? The soft voice was hoarse, as if something was still being suggested. The words of the song are soft. Is this man suggesting her? Or not? I don't understand the words. She simply shook his hand and said, I want to hear my brother sing. They are all singing. When can it be my brother's turn to sing? Chi Yuan suddenly held her waist, pressed her against the wall on one side, bowed her head and kissed her lips, and her hoarse voice seduced her, go back to my brother and sing to you alone, okay. The light in the hallway was very bright, and I didn't know if it was a reflection of the light. Yan Ji felt that Chi Yuan looked at her as if she was on fire. She stared at him with burning eyes, her face gradually turned red, her eyelashes fluttered, and she avoided Chi Yuan's burning eyes, and whispered, is my brother singing well? You know what you hear? Chi Yuan's fingers moved around her waist, want to go back? Yan Ji nodded. The sound of high heels came from behind, and at the glance of Yan Ji, she saw the back of female number 2. She pinched Chi Yuan's neck. Brother hugs me. Little lazy cat. Chi Yuan did not hesitate to pick up the song and got on the car. He called the director and said he would take a step. Only Li driving the car, Chi Yuan pressed the sound insulation board, and almost couldn't wait to bite the lips of Yanj. Words of song. Is this man all day long and has energy? But is it really good in the car? Yanj refused to think. Her body is really delicate and soft. He was previously fascinated by his confusion, but now he is soft and let him do it. When Yanj got out of the car, he lay on Chi Yuan's back and was carried by Chi Yuan. What was unexpected was that the news that Chi Yuan had a female ticket was too hot. Several reporters waited at the entrance of the hotel. At the sight of Chi Yuan's appearance, a girl was on his back, and it was a snapshot. The security of the hotel appeared in time, and helped Xiao Yuan and Chi Yuan to set a course together. Entering the hotel room so hurriedly, Chi Yuan slammed the door with his feet, directly put the word song down and pressed it on the door. While stripping the clothes of the word song, he dropped his lips on the word song's lips and asked her, small words, can't you wait? Yan's song, why wasn't his interest disturbed by the reporters? Good, call my brother, please. Words of song. This particular hobby. It's too heavy. This night, it was dark tossing. Yanj felt that the hair on his tail was almost wiped out by the sky. Moreover, Chi Yuan didn't talk much, and said she wanted to sing to her alone, but she was singing. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1092. Later, at the last moment the man relaxed, Yan Ji heard the sister again. Extremely sad, and extremely nostalgic. The heart-splitting voices immediately heard the song falling from the clouds into the mud. She didn't understand the intense emotion of Chi Yuan. Of course, this may be that people and trees have different values. In Yanj's view, others are more important than themselves, and things they can't get are already internal injuries. Why do you want to hurt yourself to create a false fantasy? Of course, gangsters are full of souls, boring, and wayward. The girlfriend's affairs were fermented all night, and the next morning, Chi Yuan got up, tweeted the little girl, and tweeted the photos taken by the reporter yesterday, as well as the photos of him and the girl holding hands. Note, girlfriend, a lifetime. After sending it, he brushed it for a while. Most of the following Weibo distressed him and wished him and his girlfriend a happy life. Some people also expressed envy and hate and said that the bowl of dog food was dry even though the heart was eating. Only a few were clamoring, indicating that the woman was not worthy of him, indicating that he was blind and had no choice. XX was simply a scumbag and wanted to be disappointed. Chi Yuan skipped these messages at a glance. He looked at the words of envy and jealousy but had to stuff the dog food with everyone's comments. His lips were up and he was in a very good mood. Reaching out and rubbing the black hair of the girl in his arms, he buried his face in her thick hair, squinting and enjoying the moment of silence. Chi Yuan didn't go home again. After the start-up ceremony was held, the crew began to film intensively. Yan Ji naturally followed Chi Yuan inseparably. Because he is a big brother, Chi Yuan has a separate dressing room. Therefore, he tried with Yanj in almost every corner of the dressing room during the night show. His favorite thing is to press the words in front of the mirror, let her look at him in the mirror and call him brother blurry. Yan Ji found that the man was really serious during the day, the kind of special gentleman. But at night, this man was like a possession, terribly dirty. Such people are afraid to expose their dark side to the sun in their brain hole world. Inexplicably, Yanj felt sad for him. When Chi Yuan was filming, most of the time he would sit boringly outside the theater watching the cartoons on his mobile phone. The cartoons of the two fishes have been watched many times, but she was so tired of it. After Chi Yuan's play was filmed for several days, the female number one entered the crew to start filming her own play. Female number one is a newly loved newcomer. Her acting skills are not very good, but she wins in the background. Fortunately, this is the play of the male lead. The director probably has no hope for the performance of the female number one. The whole process is to shoot the female number one in the United States, and it can only be saved by face value. Today, Chi Yuan still has a drama with the female number one as usual, and Yan Song is not very interested. When Chi Yuan was shooting an ambiguous show with the female number one in the theater, Yan Ji sat on a small stool and looked at the two with interest. A cartoon of a fish, and the pine nuts on the hands are kept on. Behind her, someone asked her, "Does the cartoon look good?" Yan Hui, "It's delicious." The man asked again, "Pine nuts are delicious." Words, "Fish is delicious." When she went to grab the pine nuts again, the pine nuts disappeared, and she slightly raised her head, and Yan Ji saw a man who was almost half of his body covering himself. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 1093. This man is very young. He should be in his early 20s. A pair of peach eyes looked at the song with a smile, with a bit of evil in the eyebrows, but it was a little creamy. Yanj had enough hands to take the pine nut plate in his hand and said, "That's my pine nut." The man changed his hands, flickering from side to side, deliberately teasing words, "Pine nuts or fish?" Words, "Fish is delicious." "Man, I know there is a grilled fish restaurant near here. The fish in it is particularly delicious. I'll take you to eat." Yan Ji heard his eyes lit up, "Okay." It was as if the reaction had come, and he turned and walked forward. "I'll ask my brother if I want to eat fish together." The man quickly grabbed Yan Ji's arm. "What's your brother's name?" "Yan Song, Chi Yuan." "Chi Yuan is your brother?" "My brother and I are also good buddies." "You are Chi Yuan's sister, and that is also my sister. It seems that this grilled fish must invite you to eat. Let's go. I give Chi call long distance, save you a trip and ask him." Brothers who have fish all nodded. Yan Ji nodded, "I eat a lot of grilled fish." When the man saw the words follow him obediently, his lips turned up, and his eyes were full of thoughts. "How much you want to eat? Since you are Chi Yuan's younger sister, you have to call my brother. Come, call brother Jin and listen. The words sing from the good, brother Jin. The soft waxy voice has the innocence of a girl and the charming of a woman. The bones that men listen to are crisp. But he hadn't taken a few steps to lead Yanj. A woman behind her suddenly called, Jinjing, I'm here. The man walked, the woman behind him hurried over and took hold of the man's arm. Jiao Didi's voice coquettishly said, Jinjing, you really came to see me, it's great, it's too hot outside, you and let's go to the shed together. I have a show just a while ago. How do you think I did? This is talking about the female number one in the crew. She had a big breast and a thin waist. Although she was wearing a white curled curl with a red edge at this moment, the layers of waistband made her waist thin, and her became even bigger. Female no one's face is the face of Guazii. In such a dress, she looks very pitiful and has a gentle and charming feeling of girls. After Yan Ji glanced around her, her eyes stopped on her chest. That chest feels pretty good. Sorry to say, Yan Ji has entered countless planes, but because of the host's life, she has no chance to touch her big breasts. Jinjing is the backer of number one female. I know that Jinjing is going to visit her class today. Although there are several plays for number one female today, as long as she is free, she will definitely come out of the studio and wait for Jinjing. Time traps people so that they won't be stopped halfway. When female number one talked with Jinjing, she glanced at the song without any trace. This woman, a big guy like Chi Yun, should be content. Why is she still eating and looking at the pot? She was simply greedy, and number one was angry and could not wait to pierce the face of an unsatisfied woman like Yanj immediately. I don't have time right now, but Jinjing pushed away the female number one. When filming, you should shoot well and run out halfway. You don't take the director or the staff into your eyes at all. You are too bad. Dedicated. He stopped talking and walked up to Yanj a few steps. His impatient face immediately turned into a merry and cheerful smile. Sister, let's go.